Well, in a significant development today, Israel's Knesset has voted to reject Palestinian statehood. The resolution passed by a decisive majority argues that the creation of a Palestinian state would pose an existential danger to Israel. Lawmakers supporting the resolution say that such a state could potentially threaten Israel's security and stability. This decision is expected to have profound implications for the already tense relations between Israel and Palestine, potentially impacting ongoing peace efforts in the region. Well, for more information, I'm joining the line from Tel Aviv with the RISE special correspondent Karl Bostic. Karl, good to see you and thanks for your time. There's big news coming from the Knesset. It's a big drawback in one quarter, on one quarter if you look at it. But again, basically, perhaps help us make sense of what this would mean in this whole push by the Palestinian asking for its own statehood.
Hi, good evening, Suleiman. It's really more than just about what the Palestinians are asking and demanding from Israel. It also complicates the U.S. as they try to broker a ceasefire deal with Israel. To put things in a broader context, yes, this vote is significant because it's a vote that says that even if there is a ceasefire deal, a negotiated settlement, we do not want a negotiated settlement that involves future recognition of a Palestinian state because that would recognize or reward Hamas's aggression back in October 7th last year, when you had mass slaughters and atrocities committed, where more than 1,200 people, Israelis, were killed, and they're saying we reject that. They actually had a similar vote, Suleiman, back in February. February, they rejected any call for recognition of a Palestinian state if it was unilaterally imposed by other countries or the UN or what have you. But this is really more about saying that even if there's a negotiated ceasefire, we will not accept any ceasefire deal if it also includes recognition of a future Palestinian state. And why that's important, why this is involved is this, Suleiman, is this. Benjamin Netanyahu, the prime minister here, he's actually scheduled to address Congress next week in Washington, D.C. He's scheduled to address joint houses in Washington, the House of Representatives and the Senate. It's a very controversial Senate visit because it couldn't come at a worse time as far as U.S. politics is concerned, at least as far as the Democrats are concerned. And then on Monday, he's supposed to be flying this week in Netanyahu, U.S. He's supposed to be meeting with President Biden. However, President Biden just contracted COVID, so he's in isolation. So it's not even clear if Netanyahu would even be able to meet with President Biden, who basically has advocated a framework for a ceasefire that would include a recognition of a future Palestinian state. So that's where we stand now.
Now, quickly, let's talk about the wider, argument that a lot of people are trying to bring to bear here now. Looking at what the lawmakers say, they said this a resolution could potentially threaten Israel's security and stability if they toe the line of considering the Palestinian statehood. What more do you think the leaders in the West can bring to bear on this argument that we're seeing in the parliament of the Israelis?
Well, very simply put, as you rightly put it, it's really all about politics. I mean, the parties that brought this resolution to bear, they are the far right parties, members of this 5 or 6 party coalition, who are adamantly opposed to any recognition or future recognition of a Palestinian state, especially if it involves, rewarding Hamas for its role in this incredible atrocity back in October 7th, because it's still unclear whether Hamas, after 9 months of war, would still have a future role in Gaza, either politically and militarily. So that's why you have what we see here right now. That's also why the U.S. is trying to manage, and other partners like Egypt and Qatar, trying to manage a ceasefire deal that would include a phasing out of perhaps Hamas politically, but Hamas still wants to be able to have a military capacity. And that's what Israel does not want to have.
Let's quickly take you to the United States, where there's some form of conversation between Trump and some leaders of the Democratic Party, the very latest, Nancy Pelosi. What more can you tell us with this push from his own party members asking him to stand down?
Well, it's pretty amazing, Suleiman, because really what a difference a week makes. I mean, it's not even a week yet, but he really narrowly survived an assassination attempt. Already, President Biden is facing a storm of criticism for showing a decline in his cognitive health. Calls for him to resign. What's new is this: you are now seeing very senior leaders. Nancy Pelosi, you mentioned, she's perhaps the most authoritative leader, most powerful member of Congress, a former Speaker of the House. She, in fact, is 84 years old. A lot of stuff's been said in private right now, but now people are coming publicly. So far, 21 members have called publicly for him to withdraw from the race. We may see some real news in the coming days because now he's got been diagnosed with COVID. And what these people are doing, like Nancy Pelosi or Hakeem Jeffries, who's a Speaker of the House, from New York, and Chuck Schumer, the Senate Majority Leader, they're telling him that it's not only about Biden losing the race to Trump, it's about the Democrats losing all the races for the House and the Senate. Suleiman, just to give you a quick example of what they're saying, the latest polls that shows right now that Donald Trump is leading Joe Biden in all major battleground swing states. For example, the main ones are like Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. Pennsylvania, Trump leading 46-40. Wisconsin, Trump leading 46-43. And Michigan, Trump leading 43-40. What that means, Suleiman, is this: if an election were held today, Donald Trump would win. And not only would he win, but also it would be likely that the Democrats would lose control of the Senate, and they would also lose their best chance to try to flip the House in their favor.
Karl, let's say, assuming without considering that he's standing down over the weekend or anytime soon, what can this do for the Democrat in trying to play catch up?
You know something? Catch up is the right word, Suleiman, because look, the election is November 5th. The Democrats have their convention in the middle of August. Suleiman, actually, they were trying to hold a virtual roll call so that Biden could then seal his nomination. But they are in such desperation, they've caved into pressure to delay this virtual roll call. So right now, it's a Democratic Party in incredible disarray. We don't know what will happen if Kamala Harris could be the top of the ticket, or if not her, would there be an open convention? Open convention means that the nearly 4,000 delegates would try to choose from a short list of front runners. A lot of talented governors out there, ranging from Michigan's Gretchen Whitmer, California's Gavin Newsom, Pennsylvania's Josh Shapiro, all who could be legitimate contenders. The problem is they don't really have national recognition. And the problem is there's not enough time to introduce them to an American public, which right now is more than aware not only of Donald Trump and what he stood for, but has also seen him surviving an assassination attempt.
Well, Karl Bostic, I'd like to thank you for your time as always. Thank you.